the camera to catch it. There we go. All right. Hey, SPC-205. I'm coming to you from the COVID-19 compound here in the heart of the greater Grovetown metro area, your Aiken Tech outpost here in Columbia County, Georgia. Hey, this is just a chance for me to go over things I saw across the board on the informative speech. So let me start off right off the bat saying what I normally do is I take all my sections, I sort of score out, find out how many A's we had, find out how many B's we had, C's, and then those grades that need to be improved. Overall, fell into the bell curve. I had more A's than normal. I even had 3 75 out of 75s, and I do not like giving perfect scores, and I had 3 that were inarguably met every criteria for max points. So those people should be very proud of themselves. I did have a lot of A's. I had a lot of B's, a few less C's, and then there were people that needed to work on those. That's fine, though. We're still at a point in the course where we've got multiple discussion boards. We've got the 150-point final, the 100-point problem solution speech, the 125-point problem solution speech or persuasive speech. And we've got 2 20-point outlines left. So don't throw, don't withdraw from the class because you didn't get the grade you want until we have a chance to talk about it. Okay, let's go over the speech though. So overall, very pleased with the results. Again, students oftentimes complain that I focus on the negative. That's just the nature of this course. I want to stress up front that overall, the greatest majority of the speeches were very good, and I was very pleased with them. You're going to hear me talk about some things that you probably saw, and hopefully I will explain them a little bit better when I have a chance to talk about them rather than trying to jot down notes while you're actually giving the speeches. So let me start off. First thing I got to talk to everybody about. We had students that did not get a speech grade, did not get a grade for this speech because they just walked all over the prohibited topics list. That prohibited topics list is not a joke. If you start off your speech with a sentence that sets it up as being about one of the prohibited topics, I will shut the speech off and I will not grade it, and I will send you an email saying your speech was not graded. You have missed this speech. Okay? Go back. It's in the syllabus addendum. Go back and reread that list, and if you have any doubts, questions whatsoever that your speech falls into that topic list, please send me an email and ask me a question. Because once you post that video, and once I listen to it, and I hear right off the bat, if you start off your speech with, today, 80% of American teenagers have problems with technology addiction, I am shutting the speech off at that point, and I am sending you an email saying I'm not grading it. Okay? That's no joke. Please don't make me do that again. Okay, so let's take everything point for point. We'll be going down the rubric. You have a copy of the rubric that I've already posted, yours personally. Hopefully you'll hear some things here that will help explain things that you saw in your speech or on your rubric. Okay, first of all, for the outline. Outlines overall were pretty good. Vast majority of you got 20 out of 20. Very pleased with that, okay? The problems that we had, okay, was number one, I don't know what it's going to take to get people to put a restatement of the purpose in the conclusion on their outlines. I don't know why that is always a problem. I say it over and over again. It's on the restatement of purpose is actually on the rubric. I don't know what it's going to take to make that happen, but everybody loses. A good third of you, if not more, lost points for not having a restatement of the purpose. Second thing, I don't know what it's going to take to get you to put 3 pieces of evidence where they're going to be used in the speech and highlighted. I don't know how to make that any clearer, that you will lose 5 points if you do not have the evidence where it will be used in the speech and highlighted. Okay? Again, repetitive problems with that over the years that I've been at Aiken Tech. You guys can surprise me by everybody putting in their evidence where it's supposed to be in the speech and highlighting it next time. It would thrill me to no end, but it's just a repetitive problem. All right, so excuse me, let's move to the introduction. You cannot use a question as an attention device in this class. I've said that many times. Even if you do something like, How many cigarettes do you think were sold in the United States last year? Last year, 4.8 billion. That still starts with a question. You're going to lose the points for the attention device. Okay? I can't make that any clearer. And also, start in general with the informative speech. If you had something that looked like an attention device, I gave you full credit for it. Okay? Starting with the problem solution speech, I need vocal emphasis on that attention device. I need you to stress and repeat numbers. I need you to deliver your attention device in a dramatic manner so that it will garner attention. Okay? Didn't really grade many people off for that this time, but I need you to be aware of that as we go forward. Okay. Several of you had a problem with an implied statement of purpose where you instead of saying, today we're going to be talking about, you just stated your problem, okay? Instead of saying, today we're going to be talking about the declining fish population in Clark Hill Reservoir, you said something along the lines of, the fish population in Clark Hill Reservoir declining is a significant problem. It needs to be explicit. You need to hit it clearly, okay? Preview the main points. The main problem that was recurring was that you just blasted through them. Use the pause. I'm going to be talking about 3 main points today. Main point number 1 will be the fish population survey of 1980. My second main point will be the fish population survey of 2018. My third main point will be what's caused the drop in the fish population in Clark Hill Reservoir. Okay? If you blast through those, we don't have enough time to absorb them. So go through it slowly. And then the biggest problem with your speaker credentials, a few of you discounted your own credentials. Hey, I've been researching this. I'm not an expert. Okay, then get off the stage. I don't need to listen to you. Just simply present your credentials. Okay, there were 2 kind of opposite things happening that we really need to look at when we talk about introductions. First of all, like I've already said, some of you guys just blasted through it. I had an introduction on the speech this time that went 21 seconds. They delivered an attention device. They stated their purpose. They previewed their main points. They gave their credentials, and they were out in 21 seconds. Okay? And I had to go back. It was on tape, so I got to back up and listen to it just to make sure all the parts were there, so I gave them as many points as possible. But in a real-world speech, that would not have been acceptable. Nobody would have gotten anything out of the introductions. So some of you need to slow down. Take a breath. Pause. Here's the other problem that's kind of the flip side of that coin. Some of y'all need to focus. We do not need any facts in the introduction unless you're going to use them in your attention device. 4 parts. Attention device, statement of purpose, statement of your credentials, preview of the main points, get out. Okay? Longest introduction I had this week was 2 minutes and change. Okay, for a 4 to 6 minute speech, that means 4.5 to 6 minute speech. That means half your speech was your introduction. Because they kept bringing in facts that they could have brought up in a main point. Again, focus, 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 focus in that introduction. It should be 4 sentences long with appropriate pauses so that everybody can catch what you're saying. Do the attention device. State your purpose. Preview your main points slowly with pauses, and then tell us your credentials. Then move to your first main point. Okay? Don't start explaining to us why the main points are important. We will get that through the body of the speech. Okay. Body of the speech. Generally, the organizations were all very good. I didn't have any problems with her. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 I had some slight comments on. Overall, it was very good. Okay? Transitions between main points need some focus for a number of you. I won't say even most, but a number of you need to get that. My second main point is. My third main point will be. Okay? A lot of times I had to go back and look at your outline to figure out where you were in your speech, and I should never be doing that. I should hear you tell me what main point you're on. Okay? Not a massive problem. Not everybody had it, but a few of you need to focus on that with the next speech. Development of your subpoints is where everybody needs to work. Here's what happened in general for a lot of people, and this is just an overstated example so that everybody can understand what I'm saying. So my second main point will be the fish population survey of 2018. So, there was a fish population survey done like in 2018, and and your organization just disintegrates. And you go from giving a speech to giving a talk. Okay? You start vocalizing your pauses with like, You just start meandering all over the place. You don't look at your note cards. Okay? You forget to cite evidence that's listed in your outlines. You need to focus through the subpoints. Stick to your outline. Keep that formal speech mentality all the way through the subpoints. Don't add extraneous information. If it wasn't in your outline, if you didn't practice it, don't say it. Oh yeah, by the way, I should never hear that in a speech. Okay? If you missed it and you need to bring it back up, okay, maybe, but that rarely, if ever, happens. Generally, if you've missed it, let it go. We didn't see it. We didn't catch it. We didn't know it was supposed to be there. Okay? And then, like I already said, watch your vocalized pauses. A lot of you guys were really great with my third main point will be, what we're talking about here. And then it just sort of turns into sort of mushy. Okay? Focus, focus, focus in those subpoints. Make sure you're sticking to your outline. Okay? Develop an outline and note cards for your subpoints so you stick with them. Okay? Conclusions. We're generally pretty good. What a surprise. Restatement of purpose doesn't show up on the outline, doesn't show up in the speech, you lose points. Okay? Not putting a restatement in your restatement of purpose in the conclusion on your outline is a twofer. Because number one, you're going to lose points for it on the outline. Two, you're probably not going to put it in your speech. It's a twofer. You lose points two ways. Okay? The review of the main points were generally really good. Okay? In fact, they were better than the preview because that time I think you're tired and you're not talking so fast. So your review of the main point was generally better than your preview of your main points. The closing statements were generally pretty good. Some people sort of crammed them in at the last minute, but that's okay. There was not a whole lot of that. There was a problem with the conclusion similar to the problem with the introductions. Your conclusion should have 3 parts, and then you should get off the stage. You should have a restatement of your purpose, a review of your main points, and then a closing thought, and then get out. Okay? If several times there were people who went, today I have talked to you about the fish population in Clark Hill Reservoir. We talked about the 1980 fish population survey. And remember what we talked about with the No, just hit the main point. Also, this happened. The fish population survey of 1980. Oh, which I forgot to tell you was done by the... If you haven't given it to us by then, go. Just keep going. Don't bring up extraneous information. Don't bring new information into the conclusion. Okay. Evidence, it was just pure and simple. Either you did it or you didn't. If I put on your rubric that you did not put in evidence and you did, I'm going to tell you what to do about that in just a minute. Okay. But the biggest problem with evidence was most people had evidence in their outlines that never showed up in the speech. And again, you're not, when I get down to past that outline line, I'm not grading you by the outline anymore. It doesn't make any difference if you had 5 sources in your outline. If you didn't give them in the speech, the audience doesn't know they exist. So that's how I grade that. Okay? Nonverbal, actually very good overall. There's still a couple of people that are shuffling their feet. The biggest thing as always, is relax your arms. Your gesture should be above the waist, more towards shoulder level. A lot of people don't show us the back of your hand when you're gesturing. You should be gesturing to the outside. Let me lean this way so I can gesturing to the outside so you can show us the palm. This is defensive. That is embracing. Okay, well, that is out here is embracing. Unfortunately, I don't have the letterbox here to show you how to do it. Okay. Yeah, there was a couple of people that lost points for framing. There was a couple of people that lost points for having too many note cards. There was a couple of people who lost points because they had a half a sheet of paper and not 5x7 or smaller note cards. You know, I got nothing. A couple of people lost points for time because, you know, and I got nothing to say about that. I mean, you've been told what the standard was. You've been told what will happen if you don't meet the standard, and if you didn't meet the standard, there's nothing I can do about it. Okay? All right, so overall, again, very happy with the speech overall. Everybody did really well, well, most people did really well. I think the people who did not get the scores that they wanted are in a position where they can improve, and certainly if you want to talk about how you can improve, you can come back to me. All right, let's talk about if you don't like what your rubric says, what we need to do next. Okay? So after you listen to this video, if you have some documentable deficiencies, and what I mean by that is if you gave 3 pieces of evidence and I only gave you credit for 1, what you do is you go back and watch your speech and you say, Mr. McInnes, I presented 3 pieces of evidence at 148, 237, and 410. And I will go back and look at your speech. But don't say, I gave you 3 pieces of evidence, because I am not digging through 78 4.5 to 6 minute speeches to figure out whether or not you gave me three pieces of evidence. Okay? Pure and simple. If I said you did not have a closing statement in your outline and you are double dandy sure you did, Mr. McInnes, I gave my closing statement in my outline at 4 minutes and 52 seconds. I will go back and look, and I will correct it. If it's there, I will correct it, and if it's not there, I will go back and give you a detailed response on why you didn't get credit for it. Okay? Real simple. If I added wrong, and I will tell you it happens all the time because I have a defective calculator, not because I screwed up, it's the calculator's fault. Okay? Always is. If I added your score, if your scores got added wrong and you deserve more points, you write me and say, hey, Mr. McInnes, you added the points wrong. I got a 48. I deserve a 56. And I will go back in and I will recheck. And if you deserve those points, if I added wrong, you know, my dad always said, it takes a big man to admit he's wrong, and I am a big man. I will admit I'm wrong and I will correct your score. Now, what if it comes out that you've got more points recorded on Blackboard and at the top of your sheet, your rubric, than you deserve? You got that 56 and you should have had a 48. Well, ethically, I should tell you that you should write me immediately and tell me that you got too many points. Sure, do that. I would be happy to fix it. I don't know that it ever happened, and I can't prove that it did, but, you know, if you want to be that ethical, I am here to support you. Okay? Otherwise, take it as a bonus. All right, that's it. Again, guys, don't freak out. These first speeches, this is a very mechanical approach to public speaking. I mean, I want you to have all those skill sets, the basics, so when you go out into the real world and you're doing job interviews and everything, you have these mechanical processes built into your mind. And yes, I'm very specific on how I grade, and I'm very exact on how I grade, or at least I try to be as exact as possible as you can be with something like this. Okay? So, I'll be talking to you more before the end of the week. So, if you want to comment on your grades, if you want to come back to me and ask me questions, I need you to, number 1, watch this video, which clearly you've already done because you're at this point. Then I need you to, number 2, go back and rewatch your speech while reviewing your rubric. That's going to be the first thing I ask you. Have you watched the video? Have you watched your own speech? Then I'm going to want you to ask me questions, and then we will have a conversation about it. And then with your 2 remaining speeches, and I'm going to come to you with some more details, reviewing some of the stuff on the problem and solution speech to make sure everybody has the best possible chance for getting a good score on that. Okay, that's all I got for today. This went on a lot longer than I thought it would. Usually these last about 15 minutes. We're now almost to 20. Again, you can write me. If you want to set up an appointment, we can do Zoom. I've been Zooming a lot with students this semester. Happy to do it. All right, that's it. Stay safe, stay well, and we will talk to you soon.